Puny humans.
Throughout human history, people have enjoyed organized competition in one form or another. Racing is no exception. It has captivated fans and spectators across the globe and ignited passions of skilled competitors who race everything from horse-drawn wagons to modern vehicles. Since the invention of the combustion engine, cars have had a profound effect on our culture and the way we live, but particularly on the sport of racing.
For anyone that's told me no or told me that I couldn't do something, it's always kind of been like, okay, that's fine, that's your opinion, but I'm gonna prove you wrong. And sometimes that gets you in trouble, but that's just kind of the way I am.
Another driver looking very much at home is Jamie Krizik from Grand Prairie, Alberta. Very fast and will be fun to watch here today. At this point, there's a battle for 10th, so you've got battles all over the place. That's Luke Hokus and the 34 of Jamie Krizik, a couple of Western drivers doing very well, and just in behind, another Western driver, Noel Dowler.
Just to come from where we live, and you know, half the year we've got snow outside and no one's thinking about racing cars. You're the Western guy that is going to come out and try and compete and try and do the best they can and make the most of the opportunities.
For many racing enthusiasts or aspiring race car drivers, racing is exhilarating and fun. For Jamie Krizik, a young man born and raised in Grand Prairie, Alberta, racing is much more. It's generational. It's family. It's his passion. Jamie is one of many aspiring drivers who pursue their lifelong dream of racing in NASCAR. This is his story. We are exploring the reality of what it takes, what he and his team have to overcome to make the dream a reality. From nothing to NASCAR, this is a true underdog story. When you hear the name NASCAR, you instantly think of high speeds, roaring engines, spectacular crashes, and large crowds cheering for their favorite drivers. Iconic drivers such as Lee Petty, Junior Johnson, Richard Petty, and Dale Earnhardt. Like many boys and girls, passions arise from something they're exposed to at an early age. It can be said that Jamie was born to race.
My name is Ben Krizik and I'm Jamie's grandfather. When I was about 12, my future brother-in-law took me and my sister to the first stock car race. Well, it was something that I had never seen before and it was quite intriguing. It was something that I was interested in, and with me being interested in, our kids got interested as well.
What intrigued me was the speed. Them hanging it out on a dirt track and the roar of the cars and the competitiveness, trying to beat each other. That's what I love to watch.
Jamie started from a very young age. He was 3 years old the first time he ever went to a race in Daytona. With his dad took him. Kyle Petty drove the Mellow Yellow. It was, I think the colors on it, you know, he could spot. Kyle Petty became his hero.
This has always been my dream. It's always been racing. Kids always have a career that they want to do. You ask them when they're little and they want to be policemen, firemen, or whatever they come out with. And the majority of kids, as they grow up, they kind of lose that. Real life kind of takes over and they don't get to follow their dream or whatever their passion was when they were little. They kind of lose that. I never lost that.
Much of the Krizik family's early racing experiences took place at a local dirt track on the outskirts of Grand Prairie known as Speedway 99 in the 1960s, later known as Grand Prairie Speedway in the 90s. It was here that racers and their families from all over the Peace region would come to compete. It was a place where many friendships and the local racing community were formed. These friendships endured through the generations and became part of Jamie's upbringing. In 1995, the racetrack was relocated to Hythe, a small community northwest of Grand Prairie, and renamed the Hythe Motor Speedway. This is where Jamie's career officially started. To this day, he still competes in the IMCA modified class in car 46 and is one of the top contenders. IMCA stands for International Motor Contest Association and became a Canadian class racing series in 1988. It would be here at Hythe that he would develop not only his racing skills, but his and his team's ability to adapt and overcome unforeseen challenges, like a blown engine, to complete destruction of his race car.
With where we're at in terms of the NASCAR, the Pinty Series, we're an underdog. We're just starting out with our team. We don't have the latest equipment. We don't have spare everything. So I think we're a little bit of an underdog there. But then on the local level with the modified, we've been doing that for so long now that we're absolutely not an underdog. If we're not in contention for the win, then we've messed up and we've had an off day.
He does this while working a full-time job as a mechanic, fundraising, and being a mentor to many aspiring young drivers who are joining the ranks of the local racing community. For many drivers, achieving this level of success would be good enough. But for Jamie, it was just the beginning of his journey to race in NASCAR. The doorway to a much larger world was opened, a world that brings a host of new and greater challenges to be overcome.
Keeping pace with Kevin Lacroix, but he is clearly the class of the field today.
Good look there at Mark Dilly in a battle with Jamie Krizik, a battle for 9th position. Krizik to the inside, they'll make a little contact.
NASCAR has many different racing series. The top 3 national touring divisions are the Monster Energy Series, which features the world-renowned Daytona 500, the Xfinity Series, and the Gander Outdoors Truck Series. Drivers first must prove themselves in development or feeder series before they make it to the top NASCAR touring divisions. In Canada, one of those feeder series is called the Pinty Series. It consists of 13 races across Canada with one in New Hampshire.
We got together as a group and decided it was time that we would get our own car and start our own team, started accruing all the things we needed, all the assets, all the parts and pieces that we needed to be a competitive NASCAR Pinty Series team.
Jamie's friends and family volunteer their time to be a part of his team. They are Louis Krizik, Tim DeWald, Scott Curtin, Kevin and Jody Pellerin, Lee Krause, and Ian Burgess. With the bare necessities, Jamie participated in his first Pinty Series race with his own car and team.
There's 43 NASCAR rides in all the world when you get to the top level. So when you start to think about how competitive it is to get into from minor hockey or minor baseball or minor soccer and things like that to go make the NHL or the NBA or Major League Baseball, there's 30 teams with 30 players and lots of opportunity and lots of chance. There's a small field of the NASCAR elite.
I could beat anybody, it doesn't matter. Cole Trickle, Ricky Bobby, you bring them out. Like I said, it's just another car and someone else to beat.
Jamie is set to take part in 3 races in Western Canada. For him to compete, it means a week off of work, race car preparations, and an approximate $25,000 budget versus the $1,500 budgets for his IMCA modified races. Compare this to the $500,000 budget of some corporate-sponsored teams whose pit crews earn wages, carry ample spare parts, and sometimes even spare cars. You begin to see the challenge faced by a new driver.
We have like 13 races a year, and it's just 13 races of fun, of really enjoying your sport, being behind that car, behind the wheel, and talking to your crew and making it better and pushing the car to its limit. We only do that 13 times, but then the rest of the 280 days, it's just work, and it's not the same fun. But if you're not mentally prepared to do that, then you better, switch to a different sport.
And this is our biggest challenge in NASCAR. I think for all new drivers, it's to get like really good sponsors and find them and make sure to keep them. So that way we have to be good on track and off track.
Teams will fundraise year-round, trying to find people and companies to sponsor them. Each sponsorship deal is different. Depending on the level of sponsorship, companies can choose where their logo is placed on the car, the driver's clothing, or even choose the color of the car to match their branding.
The big thing with racing is it's a 100-mile-an-hour billboard, and so that's kind of how we market this thing. Is we have this great billboard, and so I know for Jamie, I know Crown Pell Ventures has been a big part of his team, and so they're on the hood, and then we sell other parts of the car, and that's racing. That's why you hear in NASCAR and you hear the guys and they stop and they say, proud to be driving, and they list off all their sponsors, because without that, it's you need that to be able to run, and you need that to be able to be competitive in the sport.
You have to definitely hit the ground running and find those sponsors. We have found a lot that have stuck with us through thick and thin. Whether we've had bad times or good times, they've always been with us, so we're really fortunate there. But you definitely have to go out and get them, but also be able to work with them.
And then when we get to the track, what happens with every series, with the NASCAR Pinty series, they're going to give us a contingency set of decals. They're going to give us all these decals of different companies that have put money into the NASCAR Series International or the NASCAR Pinty series. And then we get kind of a planogram. We have to make sure they're all laid out properly. And then what that does is that guarantees, if we finish up in the front and stuff like that, that if, sponsor X pays $200 to the winner and we're running a Goodyear decal and Goodyear pays that money, then we can get the Goodyear money and stuff like that. So that's part of how you can get some of that money back. And it's how the companies that are putting money into the series can guarantee they're going to get some advertising back out and stuff like that.
It's never good enough. It's one of those things, the more sponsorship you get, you're going to go to more races, do more things with it. When you look at these haulers that roll in, a lot of them have corporate sponsorship on the side and giant decals, and there's a reason they can afford to do that, right? And we're heading the right direction, but just not there yet.
Through fundraising and sponsorship, Jamie has raised enough money to compete in the Western wing of the NASCAR Pinty Series. But the challenges for his team are just beginning.
Number 46, Taylor, dives to the inside. And you can see a little wiggle out of the 34 of Krizik down the back straightaway.
Yeah, Jamie Krizik with some handling woes, I'd say, on that race car, just not able to keep it down in the racing line.
During his first race in Saskatoon, Jamie's car experiences power steering issues. He was able to push through, but 3 days later in Wetaskiwin, a more serious issue arises.
When we fired it up this morning, we found a little tick in the engine. A piece off a lifter is broken off. And right now we're going to lift the intake manifold off. We put a scope down there, the band lifter, intake manifold open, and try to change that lifter out.
Yeah, see the 3 clips for the. Yep. 1, 2, 3. Yeah. Should be a 4th there.
You're gonna have to pull the intake and pull the plate below if you want to look. You'll miss practice.
Yeah, there was engine issues, and then we were double checking stuff, and then that led to tearing more stuff apart. Then we couldn't actually find the issue totally. We think we know what it is, but we're not 100% sure. And then we also had that power steering issue, so we've borrowed a pump now. It's in there, it turns, it works, so hopefully our issues are over for today and it's smooth sailing from here.
When Jamie's problems were found, both NASCAR officials and crew from other teams helped to get him on the track. This is a clear demonstration of a common philosophy in the racing community. Beat them on the track, not in the pits. Another challenge that Jamie and all his competitors encounter at racing events is adhering to the safety program that NASCAR enforces.
As racers, we're good at trying to go fast, but we aren't necessarily the best at taking care of ourselves while we do it.
Safety is definitely a big theme for us. Of course, to keep us safe because we are a family, but just in general, safety is a big push in the industry. And I think when you go back and look to when NASCAR started till today, it just blows your mind the safety advances we have across the board at NASCAR.
Well, during the day, while we're going to get prepared for the race, we have to put the cars through an inspection process. Of course, we've set an area up for every crew to be on pit road. But as the day progresses, I will end up doing an actual job on pit road. I'll have 2 or 3 cars that I have to look after during the race and make sure that they're safe. Safety is really the whole key to this thing.
Well, the rule book sets parameters for these cars, whether it's body height, weight, different heights, so on and so forth. So what we do is make sure that all the cars are equal and within the boundaries of the rules. What we check here, we check the body configuration. There's a template that goes on the cars, and then there's we check the wheelbase and wheel tread, the width. Plus, when we put it on the scales, there's certain weight rules. The cars have to weigh so much on the left side and total weight. And we do that. We check frame heights and fuel cell height.
That has been an ongoing battle. Now Dumoulin finally to the inside of Jamie Krizik, but he's lost a few car lengths, and Brett Taylor giving Krizik a bump in the corner.
Up on the outside is not a penalty because you can get a great drive down the back straightaway, and Jamie Krizik is using it right now to defend his position. The 46 of Brett Taylor gets a little bit loose under power.
Now they'll go to the outside of Chantel Kalika, and that AGI 43 will ride on board with Chantel for a little while as we see Jamie Krizik gone past on the outside.
We all know that he has the talents. We all know that he has the determination to do it. You know, my biggest hope for that is that somebody can come along and see the value and see the driver that we all do and can help him and support him financially.
The amount of dedication it takes to compete at this level is something to be proud of. Every driver at this level has had to struggle and push hard to get where they are. Racing isn't just a profession to these people, it's a way of life. It's in their blood. Jamie's determination to compete in NASCAR is unrelenting. The challenges and setbacks only serve to fuel his passion, dedication, and ambition to succeed in the sport he loves. After all the late nights, the long hours, sponsorship drives, and mechanical problems, Jamie and his team finished their first 3 races in NASCAR with their own car.
It doesn't feel like that good right now. It just goes to show we got a long ways to go. Kind of felt like we were behind the entire time. I just feel bad for everyone that put so much effort into this thing and who helps me out with the fundraiser, my sponsors, like Kevin and Jody with Crown Pell, like 3S, Shade All, everybody that's a part of this thing. It's no fun when you run at the back and don't get a chance to show your talents and show where you think you should be.
Well, I think Jamie felt he let everybody down because he didn't come out as high as he had hoped he would. But he did. Our aspirations for actually finishing was just to finish. It wasn't to be the top. We actually just wanted to finish the race. That was actually what us as a sponsor just wanted to see him to do, was just to finish the race and have a good, clean race, which he did. So we're very proud of him.
Every time he made a step in the right direction, I definitely thought, oh, that's what I want to do. Like, I want to be like Jamie. It definitely encourages young people like me to pursue the racing career and know that you can make it and know that you can do quite well in it, as Jamie has done so far. So he's definitely a role model to me.
Well, he's always been there to coach me through everything, show me how to act as a racer on and off the track. Jamie showed me that you can go anywhere.
Jamie inspires all who meet him to believe in the underdog, to chase their dreams, and do it with the same incredible determination and joy that Jamie does.